Unscripted. The questions you have with the truths you need to hear.
Help doctors get into practice the way they want to get into practice. Hashtag truth. That's why we put it out there. What we want to do is we want to bring truth to the startup game.
And now your host, Michael Dencio.
All right, guys. Hey, we are in Toronto, Canada right now at the AAPD 2024. I'm super jacked up because this is kicking off an entire week of amazing episodes. Again, AAPD, Pediatrics, Startup Unscripted. Thanks so much for coming in. And we're doing this live this week, and it's all brought to you by a very unique and awesome and partner of Next Level Consultants, SuperMouth. If you guys don't know about SuperMouth, you need to click on the links below. I'll give you guys a personal story here in a minute about my kiddos and how much they love this system and this program. But again, SuperMouth brought to you by SuperMouth, Next Level Consultants, and Startup Unscripted. So, hey, dentist and hygienist, are you looking to evaluate your practice with a comprehensive oral care solution for all ages and stages? Discover the SuperMouth program, a revolutionary line of oral care products tailored to meet specific needs of each family member. Kids will love the superhero theme, and my kids do. The themed universe, while adults will appreciate innovative designs and scientifically proven ingredients. Plus, everything is delivered right to your door. So join SuperMouth Pro partnership today and transform your patient's oral health with SuperMouth. I'm going to tell you right now, this program's awesome. And because with all that being said, we're lucky enough today to be interviewing Kami Hoss, the owner and founder of SuperMouth. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Thanks so much, Michael. This was such a wonderful introduction. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You know, hey, we love the program. This I don't do commercials very often on the program, and it's special to have you on the show. It's special to be sponsored by you today and this week. Man, why don't you give us just kind of like where you came up with this? Because I always tell my team and all the peds that I work with, I'm like, this guy's a visionary. I mean, all of the things that went into this, every little detail, I'm blown away. You got to tell me and the audience how you came up with this program.
Thank you so much. That's very nice of you. So, yeah, this was decades in the making, as you can probably imagine. I'm an orthodontist of 30 years. My wife is a pediatric dentist of 30 years. My wife became a pediatric dentist 2 years when we met. I'm just kidding, because I don't want people to start adding the age up, and then my wife gets upset. When I tell people how long I've been dating my wife says, "Yeah, I started dating him when I was 2 years old." So, like, you know, but kidding aside, we've been practicing, as you know, for a long time. You know, nearly 30 years. We have a fairly large practice with a few dozen pediatric dentists, orthodontists, general dentists, hygienists, oral surgeons, endodontists. Like, we have a fairly large group practice in Southern California. And but until my son was born about 12 years ago, when patients would ask me, "Hey, doctor, what toothpaste should I use?" I would just say, just use whatever with fluoride. Yeah. And they would say, "Which one?" I'm like, doesn't matter, because that's the only thing I knew. I think it's a shock to people when I tell them we don't learn anything about toothpaste and mouthwash and floss and toothbrushes in dental school. Like, we learn how to do fillings, and we need to do how to do crowns and bridges and braces, but we don't learn what's in an oral care product. And the result has been the number one disease in the world, and the most common chronic disease of children is dental disease, which is shameful, because more than 90% of that is easily preventable if you use the right oral care products at home. You go to the dentist, just do a few, minor things. And so it's really shameful that we don't learn prevention in oral health. And this would be bad enough if oral health was just limited to our mouths. But as we all know, and we're learning more and more, our mouth is connected to our body. And really, that's where my passion is, about oral health, systemic health, oral health, pregnancy health, oral health, mental health, airway, sleep. So oral health really impacts every part of our life, from health and confidence and how much money we make, our dating life, how long we live, our systemic health, everything, right? And so I've been always passionate about oral health for those reasons. But when my son was born 12 years ago, I remember when his baby teeth started coming in, I went to him and said, I went to my wife finally. I said, hey, Nosley, what toothpaste should we give him? Like,
Yeah.
for the first time as a concerned father,
After years of
after
being
years
asked
of just
to
saying fluoride, Crest, Colgate, doesn't matter.
Kami, I actually think, I bet you a lot of patients do, like, hey, do they have kids? Does my pediatric dentist have kids?
That's right.
Because a switch goes off.
A switch goes
the
off.
minute you become a dad or a mom,
100%.
a switch.
100%. In fact, another side story is like before my son was born, it was so easy for me to tell the parents what to do.
Yes.
And because I'm like, well, this is what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And then when I became parent, like, oh, now I understand what you go through, you know.
Yes.
So I was finding out all these nuances. But yeah, so when my son was born, I asked my wife, she said, I don't know. Like for the first time, we didn't know what to give him.
And your
Is
dentist.
fluoride safe or not?
And you guys are dentists.
We're not just dentists, we're specialists.
Yeah.
I mean, and we have we were leading, some of the leading dentists, like we speak about this, and we lecture about oral health. So it's like, we're supposed to be the experts.
Yeah.
And when we didn't know that. And so it was the first time I actually Googled, like, what I looked at my toothpaste back of the toothpaste that I was using. And I'm like, what the hell are these ingredients? So I'm like, oh my God, now. So then I freaked out from both safety and efficacy.
Yeah.
And anyways, that was my beginning of my journey into oral care products. And then, of course, years later, then it was years of building. But as you know, we launched SuperMouth last year with over 200 products. And there's a reason.
Look at this. Look at this.
I mean, this is just a little example, right? Literally
there's so much stuff.
Much.
And every little detail for the YouTubers watching. It's just the cutest stuff.
Thank you.
Who comes up with this stuff?
Yeah. So we said, okay, so at my stage of my career, I don't want to sell a toothpaste, or I don't want to sell a toothpaste. I thought I have an opportunity. So what happened, I wrote a book a few years ago called If Your Mouth Could Talk, became a #1 national bestseller about oral health, systemic health. So I had this oral health, systemic health passion. Then I had this oral care passion.
Yeah.
And I said, if I wanted to reinvent oral care and actually do it right this time, because the fact that the #1 preventable disease is dental disease, that means whatever all these other manufacturers have been mixing the last 50 years is not working, right? It's not me saying that. Right. So I said, if I want to do this, how would I do it differently? Well, how would I do it differently is you, Michael, sitting here, probably require different sets of oral care products, toothpaste and mouthwash than someone who's pregnant, than a 2-year-old who never gets a cavity, and a 15-year-old who gets braces and just had a soda habit. But if you just walk in with those 4 people into a grocery store on Amazon, how do you know which one to get?
That's right.
Right?
That's true.
So there's no model. So we said customization is going to be key. Then we said safety has to be key, right?
Okay.
Because we swallow 30% of the toothpaste and mouthwash in average. Some kids more, adults a bit less. I mean, all sorts of things. The mouth is more than enamel, so we should be thinking more than fluoride. If you're on the fluoride side, everything's about fluoride. If you're on the anti-fluoride gang, then anything that non-fluoride. I always joke around that literally everything other than fluoride is fluoride. Like poison is non-fluoride. Ice cream is non-fluoride. Everything, like my coffee is non-fluoride. That doesn't mean just because cocaine is non-fluoride. Well, cocaine is a good example of something that's natural. This is another example I always tell people, because so people who think maybe, okay, conventional products are terrible, they're like toxic. Yeah. Then they say maybe if it says natural on it, it should be good. And I always remind people, cocaine is natural. Tobacco is natural. There's so many terrible things that are terrible for your health,
that are natural,
that are unsafe and ineffective, and this is natural. So we really need, as a profession, to learn what's in a toothpaste finally, and get this fixed. So that was the beginning, and then our goal was to reinvent every product. So we have over 300 patents. Wow. This is just to tell you how much innovation we've been reinventing every toothpaste, mouthwash, floss. Our floss, for example, has a patented technology that expands, removes 40% more plaque. Or electric toothbrushes, the bristles of a toothbrush. Not that one. There's one that we're releasing soon for adults. I have I'll actually brought it for you. I'll show you if you want.
Okay, yeah.
We think about it. The current toothbrush bristles, the flat, like oval or rectangle, was invented in 1938, a year before World War II. And it's almost unchanged. But no tooth structure looks like a rectangle or oval. We have a certain anatomy on the teeth. We have convexities. So the way we did it, we went and scanned thousands of adult teeth. Okay. Then we did thousands of primary teeth. And then we scanned thousands of people with braces. And then we contoured the bristles to wrap around the teeth perfectly. So there was just an independent ISO study that showed that our bristles remove plaque, get this, up to 40 times, not percent,
40.
40 times better than a regular brush.
Oh my gosh.
It's ridiculous. And that's on just on the efficacy. On the safety side, according to CDC, up to 75% of US population we have dental sensitivity now because of these terrible brushes on 30,000 RPM toothbrushes that are just removing enamel and destroying our gums. And so that's on the safety side. And then on the cleansing side, there was a study 2 years ago that showed that there's more microbes on your toothbrush than it is on your toilet. I'm sorry for those of you who are having breakfast or lunch, or a public restroom floor. Just think about it. There's more disgusting microbes, including E. coli, all sorts of fungi, microbes, other microbes on a toothbrush than a toilet or a public restroom floor. And then we put this in our mouth. So we've also fixed that. We have an unbelievable product. I mean, if you want, I can kind of
let's back up, because you're talking about all these like really cool details from the science. You could tell this guy knows his science. He's got the patents. He's got all these things. I'm thinking it from a couple things. I'm thinking of from the psychology.
Yep.
Because you said that the kiddos' oral care, the disease is like the number one thing. And I'm thinking you have great products. You have obviously safe products. You have all these things. But what you also do, part of the genius of this whole program, is you're getting the kids to actually like enjoy.
Exactly.
And let me just share a story. I made my kids watch the movie first.
Love it.
First. They had no idea who SuperMouth was. They had Dr. Have One, SuperMouth. Nothing. He's still talking about this. And I forgot to say Dr. Kami Hoss, a.k.a. Dr. Have One, SuperMouth, right here. But this is part of his everyday vocabulary. So I had them watch the movie. You guys have an awesome movie.
Thank you.
And then the next day, the box showed up. And they're like, oh my gosh.
They knew all the characters.
They knew all the characters.
That's right.
They're like, oh my gosh, they're ripping the box.
That's
they're
right.
into this thing. And they're just really enjoying it. And so now legitimately, it's not dad telling them to brush their teeth. It's Dr. Carey. Dr. Carey's telling them to brush your teeth. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to see Dr. Have One Super Smile today. Or I'm interviewing him.
Or flossosaurus.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
And
molar.
so like, it's you attacked the psychology of it.
Thank you.
Right? Are you with me on that?
Of course. Absolutely. That was the last piece I was going to say. You're right. The fun part.
The fun part.
The fun part for the
I think it's the most important for the kids.
100%. And also how beautifully products are designed for adults. So on the fun part, just to kind of reiterate what you said, we've over the last 20, 30 years, we've developed these 9 characters, right? From superheroes to villains, right? Cavatar, our villain, Molar is his henchback.
Cavatar actually scared Alexander a little
bit. Is that right?
Teeny bit.
That's, I guess a little bit.
But it was part of the
story, yeah.
Because he kicked his butt.
Listen,
Listen,
there's no secret that Disney is the most successful theme park. But I would argue, and I assume 100% of people, or almost everybody would agree with me, they don't have the best rides.
Right.
The reason Disney is so successful is not because of their rides. It's because of the way they do storytelling and how to tell the stories. Because when I go there and I see Elsa or I see whatever Star Wars, I've seen the movies, so I know these characters. So I have an emotional connection to this. So I have an emotional experience when I go to Disney. So I'm willing to pay, $40 for the parking lot, $160 for the entrance,
for the experience,
for the experience. So how do we do
to meet the characters?
That's right. So we've learned that many years ago, and we've kind of duplicate. I wasn't thinking about copying that, but it just, now that I think about it in the past. So over the years, we've developed this world of superheroes and villains, and we tell stories through movies, augmented reality, comic books, music. And so like the movie you mentioned, The Rise of SuperMouth, it is available on YouTube if people want to watch it. It was in a major film festival at the Chinese Theater in Los Angeles a few months ago.
That's awesome.
It's a real movie. I mean, you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll you'll floss before bedtime. That's our tagline on it. But really, we want kids and families to fall in love with our characters. So when they're using this toothbrush, bristles, it's not a toothbrush, it's bristles, with
bristles,
this quirk and personality and they fall in love with it. Because so Michael, we have people posting on social media using our products. The kids sleep with the products. They take them to school. They line up after dinner for their dessert because our toothpaste tastes like ice cream, strawberry, vanilla, chocolate, and mint. They literally wait with their toothbrush after dinner, waiting for their dessert.
I know.
And so, yes, you're right. Safety and efficacy, all those things are great. But if the kids don't actually love it and don't enjoy it, then we're not going to accomplish our goals.
I think about coaching because we're in consulting. And so like we have all these great ideas. We have all these great answers. But if the why behind it is off, or
Exactly.
the motivation isn't there, or the energy or whatever, we don't see the results.
100%.
When they want it, it just explodes,
Absolutely.
and they're just dying for more. And it's the same thing as if the why isn't there, and you've created this thing that the kids, their why on it is awesome.
Exactly.
It's just so cool.
My goal has always been for the kids to beg for brushing, not for the parents to.
And if you before this, that wouldn't happen.
That's
I'm
right.
sitting there, I got the toothbrush, and I'm like,
Of
hold
course.
still, Jesus,
Exactly.
And it's like, and then like, when are you gonna do this? Like,
That's
the
right.
parents are just so obsessed with making sure our kids. So let's back up. There's a business side to this, of course, and I want to talk about that because
I love it. I love the business side of it too.
It's what I'm. It's what we're hired to do is help folks
Absolutely.
be better business owners. And so, can you explain the program, the SuperMouth Pro program,
Yes.
and how a dentist, ortho, pedo, you name it, can implement a system like this in their practice?
Absolutely.
Can you walk us through that?
100%. And let me tell you why I'm so passionate about the business side of it. To me, business, I always, when I was a dentist, I was one of those few dentists who loved the clinical part of my dental practice as much as I love the business side of it.
Yeah.
And I know, as
you're
a coach,
you're a half percenter. then.
exactly. It's not that many dentists that love the business side. I don't know. I just always loved it. I think my dad is an MBA. My sister is an MBA. Kind of grew up in a business world. So I just kind of had a big passion for that. So you're right. I mean, I think if you're a successful dentist, then you can provide better care for your patients.
That's right.
You buy better equipment. You hire better people. You take them better trainings. You create a better environment for your patients. So I always thought that's just, if I want to be a good dentist, I just have to be also a good businessman. I didn't see a difference in the two. And so
Interesting.
the reason we our big business model for SuperMouth is a B2B model, which means we really sell our product primarily through doctors, pediatric dentists, general dentists, hygienists, even on the physician side. The reason is this. Part of my family is in hair business, like beauty supply.
Really?
A lot of them, my dad has a beauty supply. My brother was like Inc. 500 or 5,000, whichever it is, for private companies. 3 years in a row for the biggest beauty supply chain in the country is called BSW. But anyways, so what I learned, the reason I'm bringing this up is because what I was always wondering in the hair business, I don't know about you, Michael, but my wife, for example, instead of going to grocery store and spending $4 on shampoo,
Yes.
she buys $40 shampoos
Yeah.
and conditioners that are
Yeah.
more from her
Same
hairstylist.
stuff. Probably same stuff.
Same stuff, probably, maybe a little bit different.
A little bit better.
But why?
Hey, it's natural.
It's natural. Exactly. Because the hairstylist recommended it, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it never made sense that hairstylists recommend hair products, but dentists don't recommend oral care products.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But you know why, Michael? Because the model is broken. Let me tell you how absolutely ridiculous the current model of dentistry is. I will not name the companies, but you can guess it. The current toothpaste companies, this is what they do. They force you to pay them for this sample toothpaste. So you buy sample toothpaste from these manufacturers as dentists. Then we freely give it to our patients to become the salespeople for this company, for them. And we pay them to be
the smartest guys in the room.
Smart. And then we pass this out to the patients for them to go buy this toothpaste from Amazon, from somebody else.
And you paid them.
And we pay them.
Let's roll that back.
It's like,
you paid them.
I'm like, how did they get us to do this? This is like the craziest business model. And we've kind of we follow this model blindly. So I thought this is absolutely ridiculous. So the way we do it, we do the exact opposite. We do a 1-hour training course online, like a 90-minute. We even give a free CE for it. It's a certification because we want to teach our doctors. It's a 1-hour education that we all had to get in dental school and hygiene school. But what's in a toothpaste, a mouthwash, so we're confident. That's the first thing. Yeah. Then they're certified. It's really easy. Then we give them a free website, SuperMouthMichael.com.
Landing page.
It's a landing page. So it's really their, we call it a replicated website. It's just really their website, but it's SuperMouth website. And then they start recommending it to their patients. And then we have a retail profit margin that they get somewhere between 15 to 40% of anything that gets sold. There's no inventory. If they don't want to, they can get some products in the office and do a wholesale model, same thing. But they could, most of it, because we have so many products, they just have some samples. They genuinely recommend SuperMouth. They use their website or a discount code that links that patients to them. And then we lock that patient to their practice for life. Whatever that patients and their family buys, the office gets a huge percentage.
Yep.
And so it's an incredible model. So now the doctors and the hygienists and the team are involved in everyday care of the
Yep.
patients. Because remember, the patients are already buying a toothpaste. They're just
Right.
not buying it from you.
That's right.
They're buying a mouthwash or a floss. They're just not buying it from you.
The other genius part about it is it's a quarterly program, right? With the box, most of the programs are quarterly.
They can
that's the
buy it
one I'm
quarterly, 100%. Most people get it on a subscription, which
Yeah.
is quarterly, but they could also buy one time, if they want to.
So
do
whatever
one
they
price
want.
on whatever they
It's
want.
not
Individual
weird.
product
You can
system.
cancel
Anything.
whatever.
There's nothing. There's no contract. There's no ongoing. They
So
can
this
cancel
box
anytime.
shows up quarterly, and my kids love it every single time. They're like, "Oh my god, SuperMouth sent me stuff." But just set up a startup in California, in the Bay Area. The amount of samples and stuff you gave him to get his practice up and running, I was like, they gave you all this,
and that's all complimentary.
He goes, "Look at these drawers." He's pulling I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And so now this chocolate. Super chocolate is going into the goodie bags. And,
I love it.
And he's got the whole display. And
that's great.
And, again, at first I was thinking it was just kind of like a salesy thing, and I totally bought into it.
Yeah.
But when you really dig into the dare I say natural stuff, but it is so low on the toxicity level. I think that's why I got my wife to buy in, because she's kind of a holistic nut. And
we have a lot of holistic, biologic doctors, by the way. When I say natural, we don't have any artificial ingredients whatsoever. So it's completely natural. But I was meant to say that just because it's natural doesn't mean it's good.
Yes, no, I know.
We don't want artificial ingredients, of course, but also not every natural ingredient. So it should be natural, but it should be correct ingredients, right?
Yes.
I'll give you an example. Like we use, first of all, the mouth is more than enamel. So we should open our minds about more than just fluoride versus non-fluoride. First of all, non-fluoride is just a ridiculous term. So it should be either hydroxyapatite or nanohydroxyapatite, which is my favorite, and or fluoride. And they have very different, and I know this is beyond this. I'm actually giving a lecture this morning at AAPD about oral care products. So I'll be discussing nanohydroxyapatite, fluoride in a lot more in detail. But so that's at least one ingredient, either nanohydroxyapatite and or fluoride. They do work very differently that your toothpaste should have. Okay, that's for immunization. Okay, calcium, which is hydroxyapatite, requires vitamin D and K2 for absorption into calcium. 90% of the U.S. population is deficient in it. Well, we should have vitamin D and K2 in oral care products.
Are you a scientist? What's happening here?
I am a scientist, and I love science. Then your mouth is more than teeth, right? You have gingival tissues. You have the whole world of oral microbiome. So instead of antibiotics in our oral care, like mouthwashes that kill 99% of your germs, what you wouldn't take an antibiotic. Michael, you're not a physician or a dentist, right?
No.
If I told you, Michael, I came up with a brilliant business health model last night. Now, why don't we just take 2 antibiotics on a daily basis that kills 99% of our germs
every day
to stay healthy?
Yeah.
You would say, let's just end this podcast, right?
Yeah.
You would say, this is crazy. I mean, I know that I take antibiotics for a few days. I have all sorts of side effects, right? Yes, antibiotics are fine for acute bacterial infections. I'm not anti-antibiotics, but for a daily usage, it's ridiculous.
Right.
But we do that in our mouthwash. We don't even think about it twice. And by the way, the mouthwashes that kill 99.9% of your germs on a daily basis have been shown to increase blood pressure because they kill the microbes that produce nitric oxide, which is a very important molecule in your body.
Yep.
There's just all sorts of oral health, not just oral health, but systemic health havoc that we're running into our bodies while using ineffective and unsafe oral care products on a daily basis.
It's beyond just the system, the products. It's just the whole thing. Give us. We're running a little bit out of time, but I could talk to you forever.
Me too. Thank you.
Did you do a startup when you and your wife started your practice? Did you buy?
We did a startup.
You did a startup. So this whole program is about talking to startups. So any fun tips or tricks? Because I have to say that, like, when you sent me those pictures of your newest office with all the stuff and all of the figurines and stuff, like the kids, I can only imagine how crazy they would go over something like that. But you don't have all those dollars at first.
That's right.
How do you create, like, give us some tips? Like, I'm thinking patient experience is on a 12 out of 10 in your office.
Thank you.
Can you give?
How do you get started? Right. Like, I know when you're in the beginning.
What creates the craze? What created the craze in your office?
I think from first day, I always wanted to do different things. I didn't want to follow everybody else. I'll give you a quick example. When we were at Kinko's, I don't know if Kinko's are around anymore. Like this is like
Well, I know what that is.
yeah,
but-
you know what it is. It's like a place we used to have like computers and graphic design, application, because we didn't have it on our own computers.
Oh my God, that
So-
just dated me.
I know,
I
I know.
feel old immediately.
So I went to UCLA dental school and my residency. My wife did USC, so Los Angeles. So I remember we were at Kinko's on Westwood Boulevard back then. And we were going to work on a logo. This is like a little quick example to tell you what. And I remember we had our friend who was a graphic designer student, and we went on the Adobe Illustrator and he did a tooth fairy.
Yeah.
I remember I told him
Did it end up being
it was
her?
a tooth fairy. Yes. Well, it was a tooth fairy first.
Oh, okay.
And I said, no, I don't want anything, any tooth fairy, any related, any tooth, any smile, anything that every other dentist uses the same stuff.
Yeah.
So my wife's last name is Carey. So she said, what about the tooth Carey? And then it was like the clouds when I said, yes, this is not a fairy, it's a superhero.
Yes.
So we took the skirt off, we put a superhero. I just loved superheroes when I was growing up. We made our first superhero named the Tooth Carey.
Tooth Carey.
So that was like, because I just wanted to do different things.
And how long ago was this?
This was 30 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then I remember I started driving to San Diego because I was going to look for a place to grab because we were going to move to San Diego to start our practice. I remember thinking, I was so excited that, oh my God, we're going to build a practice based on superheroes. And then, of course, we created my character, Dr. Habon SuperMouth. Then we said, well, you can't have superheroes, super dentists without having villains. So Cavatar was created. So that's
so
just
wait,
an example.
You created this 30,
Yeah.
the vision of this,
Yeah.
the storyline of this
Yeah,
is literally 30 years ago?
30 years ago.
And
The
but you didn't have any of
No,
this.
but it was a little bit of some of this was all in my head, and we started working on it.
Yeah.
We had a first movie many years ago, like a really terrible movie, but we showed it at some local theater. We always try to innovate, do different things. But I tell you my secret. You want me to tell you my secret?
Yes, of course.
Okay. This is the biggest secret I
If
can
you're
give
willing to give it.
pediatric dentists. Yeah.
Okay.
Is I learned who my customer is. Okay, I'll tell you, this is a secret that I've carried for 30 years. I'll share it here this morning.
Okay.
So as a pediatric dentist, I think we all think, or at least I did, that our customer is the parents, especially the moms, because moms are the ones who write the checks. So I remember for the first few years of my practice, I would roll out the carpet for the moms, give them a flower after their appointments. I'm like, I would put the moms on the pedestal because I'm like, that's my customer.
Yeah.
We want to take our customer. And one day I had an aha moment and I learned that's not correct. It wasn't the mom, it was the kids. If I put the kids on the pedestal,
Wow.
if I did everything for the kids, then the parents would line up to bring their parent.
And they would feel it. The parents would feel it. It would just natural the vibes.
And it's more because now that I'm a dad, and I know, like, Michael, if you do something nice for me today, let's just say bring me a cup of coffee. I say, hey, Michael, it's so nice. I'm going to get him a cup of coffee tomorrow. But if you do something for my son, that's nice.
Oh,
I'll
now
go to the end of the world to do something
you.
because then
So
you're
true.
like my favorite person, all right?
You know,
But the opposite is correct too, by the way. If you do,
you nailed that because you're right. When someone treats my kids right, you're family now.
that said, your family.
Your
That's why
family.
I admire my son's coaches and teachers. I'll do anything for them because they're so in a dental office.
They're
if you go to my
impacting your
office,
kiddos. They're
yeah.
impacting your kids.
If you come to my office, we have about 300 employees, maybe more, 350. If you walk to any of them and say, "Who's your boss?" They're not going to say Dr. Hoss. They're going to say, "This kid is sitting in my chair." Well, why? Because they're being taught that you take care of this kid. Well, everybody else is taking care of. The parents are taking care of. Your boss is taking care of. The manager is taking care of. You just this kid is your everything today. In other words, if I go to that person and say, "Hey, Susie, may I get a tongue scrape or like a mirror?" and the kid says, "I want some hot chocolate," they'll go get the hot chocolate. They know who the priority is. They get the hot chocolate for the kid first before they get whatever I ask for.
Wow. I mean, that is a culture that takes years to create.
Absolutely.
And so walk me through, like, my mind's blown right now because we talk about, like, at Next Level all the time about how it's the patient's hour. You may have had the worst freaking day ever. Your husband, your wife may have been just grinding on you all night last night. But when you walk in, it's that patient's hour. And we always talk about that. What you just described is on another level. And it's there's a great book called The Nordstrom Way. You described it right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Nordstrom Way is is it's all about that
Customer.
patient. How when you interview people, think about a startup. You're starting up from scratch. You have nothing. You have no money. You have this big loan. You're trying to figure it
I
out.
remember those days.
I'm sure you do. You can't forget those days,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
How do you, when you interview employees, how do you know that you've got someone that gets that?
Yeah. So I don't interview personally anymore, as you can imagine.
When you used to.
Yeah. But what we've created the same culture, so the people that I used to interview now interview people, right?
The
So
way you used to.
that's right.
Yeah.
And it gets easier because over time they don't allow. I mean, we have such a good core business, and that these people are not going to allow other people that are not like them to enter that world, right?
Right.
But in the beginning, I learned I mean, literally, we have our second employee that we hired 30 years ago. Still is one of our employees.
That speaks for you guys.
That's big. Thank you. I mean, we've had our share of problematic employees. Of course, we're in California, so we've had
you being the biggest problem. You being the biggest.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like everything's easy. It's really difficult. I mean, it's really difficult to run a dental practice. I don't want to sound at all like this is easy. It's difficult, but it's rewarding at the same time. Like it's like raising a kid, right? It's really difficult, but it's rewarding.
Yeah.
And so I think what I learned after many years is really you want to hire, quality, personality, genuine people, and the skills we can teach them. Because the more and more you put systems together, the less and less people matter from that particular part of it.
Totally.
But you can't train a person to be nice and genuine and loving and caring and honest. These values that we all have, nurturing, exactly. And so we hire those types of people because if you're a dad, let's just say you take your kid to the dentist, and this hygienist or this dental assistant or the doctor, if they're genuinely nice, but they do something bad or stupid or something, they can make a mistake, you forgive them. But if they're mean, but they're not, and by the way,
and also make a mistake,
it's completely different.
They're dead to you at that point.
And also, we've always teach people that we make mistakes. Like I remember, do we have time to give you one quick example? I remember a few years ago when I used to still say patients, because I don't see patients, as you can imagine, with all my crazy world. But about 10 years ago, before that, I was seeing patients still. And I remember one day I was in the orthodontic side. We used to back then only have ortho and pedo. So one side I was doing ortho, and then I would run I would see 120 patients a day, and I would still see 50 exams in the pediatric side.
Oh my gosh.
So I got paid to see a pedo patient, right? So I'm walking, then running through the hallway when no one sees me, and then I start walking fast again.
Oh my gosh.
And I saw this mom with her arms crossed next to one of our pediatric rooms. As I was walking by her to see this new patient, I said, "Hi." And she said, "Hi," like this, not
Body
very
language.
happy. Body language. So I went and saw my patient, and I quickly came back to her. I said, "This is the middle of a very busy day." I said, "Hi, is everything okay?" I kind of grabbed her elbows, a little very friendly. She said, "No, Dr. Hoss, it's not okay." I said, "I'm so sorry. What's happening?" She said, "Not only I was waiting for 35 minutes, like pediatric dentist office, sometimes happens,
Yeah.
Ortho never, but pedo, yeah."
Yeah.
So not only I was waiting for 35 minutes to get here. Now look this, the assistant who's working on my son, she doesn't even look in my eyes to apologize to me. She's ignoring me.
As this is happening.
And of course, that assistant later, by the way, I talked to that assistant. She said she was embarrassed to look at her. So it wasn't because she was trying to be rude. She was embarrassed because we were late. So I taught her, look, she didn't get that.
Address the problem.
Address the problem. Exactly. So this is what I did. I said, "Hey, I'm so sorry. This is one of those crazy days. What can I do to make it up to you?" And as soon as I see that, she kind of, her body language
shoulders
changed.
came
Came down. Her smile. She said, "Dr. Hoss, you're so wonderful. Thanks for stopping by. I just want the fact that you just stopped by to say hi.
That's all I want."
I said, "No, but I really need to do something for you to make it up to you. At least can I get you a cup of coffee?" She said, "No." I said, "Well, really, what?" She said, "Okay, give me. Can I get a cup of coffee?" I said, "What do you want in it?" She said, whatever, cream. I said,
mind you, he is literally sprinting between offices.
And then, so I'm like, "I'll be right back." She's like, No. I thought you were going to ask somebody else to do it. I said, "No, I was going to go get it for you."
I'm going to get it.
And she said, "No, then I don't want it." I'm like, "Listen, I'm not going to go see another patient until I make this right." So I went and grabbed a cup of coffee myself. I made her whatever she liked. I brought her. She hugged me at the heart. She said, "Dr. Hoss, this is the reason I've been bringing my kids to her for 12 years. I'm never going to go anywhere. I'm going to tell every friend I have how amazing you guys are."
I was just going to say, and now she's going to tell 20 people.
So that now it doesn't matter if we're ever late.
And by the way, she was pissed.
Yeah, she
Let's
went
talk.
from Listen,
I always talk about, like, especially when it was during COVID, like 5 years ago, whatever, 4 years, geez, 4 years, whatever.
I know it goes by
Um,
fast.
I say, look, like, when crisis happens, opportunity reveals
love it.
itself.
I love it.
Because when something bad is happening, there is literally an opportunity to make it like an amazing thing, not a shitty
Absolutely.
thing.
Listen, and the bigger the challenge, the bigger the
The
opportunity,
bigger the reward in the
the
end.
bigger reward. I mean,
it's how you respond.
100%. When you have an upset patient, is the time. That moment is your opportunity to make that customer for life.
And a lot of people go the opposite
That's right.
direction.
They
of
don't
that.
look at him even like they're my assistant because they're embarrassed. They think,
Totally.
well, I screwed up. Let me.
Yeah.
But you screw up. People screw up.
So let's tie this back. So the question was, how do you make this experience? How do you make this culture of your brand new startup? How do you get people to be raving fans? You just gave some incredible stories right there. That's how you did it.
That's right.
That's how you grew from 2 patients. You told me a story before we even turned on. Love that story. You went from that to just exploded, I assume, because
we
of
have 24% market share.
Wow.
I mean, that's crazy, right?
In what area?
San Diego County. So we have literally, I think there are 87 other pediatric dentists, and our group, we have 24% of all the kids in the county of San Diego goes to one of our offices.
Wow. I bet you the pediatric dentists love you in the area.
You know what?
They're like, how do I compete against Avatar?
I know.
How do I compete against?
But you know what? Honestly, I don't see it as competition. I kind of I'm still see them as my colleagues. If they ever need my help, like during COVID, we all helped everybody. Everybody helped each other. We were like, honestly, I don't know. I've been practicing for enough years to kind of feel like I just want to leave a good legacy. Like this whole SuperMouth. If you ask me the reason I get up at I don't want to say I feel like I'm old, but at my stage, 30 years into work, every morning at 4:30 in the morning, I go to my office. I have meetings from, internationally we have manufacturers all over the world, as you can imagine, with 200 plus products.
Oh my gosh.
So where do I get the energy is because I feel like I'm going to leave a legacy now. And this is my opportunity for the first time in the history of oral care to do something right.
That's
and
awesome.
to actually create something that's truly safe, effective, fun, and, leave it behind for the next generation.
So now, not only did you touch all those kids' lives, all those employees' lives at your practice, now you're impacting the world, I suppose, with this system. So Doc, that's a great place to kind of shut it down. But I just, thank you first and foremost for being on the program, but even more so for doing something like this, because my kids love it. They love brushing their teeth. They will probably talk about this when they're whatever age. And that
means so much for me to hear that.
And you just said you do something right for my kids. We're family. So
exactly.
So you and I are family now. Thank you for doing this for my kids.
Thank you very much. You're so awesome.
I appreciate that. I will say, if you guys haven't checked this book out and read it, If Your Mouth Could Talk by Dr. Kami Hoss, check it out. It's a really good read. If you're into science and really getting into that kind of stuff, you'll probably appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good luck at your presentation today.
Thank you very much.
Again, folks, click on the links below if you want to get any information about SuperMouth. I can make an introduction, but check them out on your own. Whatever, but definitely look into that business model, because I think anything we can do to help ourselves be better business owners, and again, I'll end it on this: is if your business is not sustainable, you can't help the community. You can't help kids' oral health, and that's why you have to make money. That's why you have to focus on the business, because if you don't, then you can't practice. And if you can't practice, then kids' oral health is the consequence to that.
Everything's linked together. So thanks so much for having me, Michael. This was such a wonderful thing. And I'm really always excited to work with you. So if there's anything I can do for you, for your family, and your clients, please let me know. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, Doc. Talk to you soon.
SuperMouth is whole mouth health. It supports the mouth's natural microbiome and promotes healthy teeth, meaning that it can slow down and fight decay, reducing the need for drilling.
I'll take it.
Fill out everyday questions about each family member and be connected with your own super dentist to customize a routine specialized for any stage of development.
I wish I'd known about SuperMouth.
A revolutionary approach to mouth care for healthier,